Welcome to Platinum Nuggets. I am Eddie Chigozi. This is the Money Moment. Stanford University is found in Stanford, California, USA. The university is organized around 3 traditional schools that focus on graduate programs in law, medicine, education, and business. Today, Stanford University, or Stanford, is popular for producing some of the world's best business and entrepreneur minds. Here is an amazing article that I am going to read for you. It begins by saying that there is a challenge which most Stanford students fail. Here is the challenge and what we can learn from their mistakes. You are a student in a Stanford class on entrepreneurship. Your professor walks into the room, breaks the class into different teams, and gives each team $5 in funding. Your goal is to make as much money as possible within 2 hours and then give a 3-minute presentation to the class about what you achieved. If you are a student in the class, what would you do? The typical answers that are given range from using the $5 to buy startup materials for a makeshift car wash or lemonade stand, to buying a lottery ticket or putting the $5 on the red at the roulette table. But the teams that follow these typical paths tend to be the lowest performers in the class. The teams that make the most money don't use the $5 at all. They realize that the $5 is a distracting and essentially worthless resource, so they ignore it. Instead, they go back to first principles and start from scratch. They reframe the problem more broadly as, what can we do to make money if we start with absolutely nothing? One particularly successful team ended up making reservations at popular local restaurants and then selling the reservation times to those who wanted to skip the wait. These students generated an impressive few $100s in just 2 hours. But the team that made the most money approached the problem totally differently. They realized that both the $5 funding and the 2-hour period were not the most valuable assets at their disposal. Rather, the most valuable resource was the 3-minute presentation time that they had in front of a captivated Stanford class. They sold their 3-minute slot to a company that is interested in recruiting Stanford students, and they walked away with $650. The $5 challenge illustrates the difference between tactics and strategy. Although the terms are often used interchangeably, they refer to different concepts. A strategy is a plan for achieving an objective. Tactics, in contrast, are the actions you undertake to implement the strategy. The Stanford students who bombed the $5 challenge fixated on a tactic, how to use the $5, and lost sight of the strategy. If we focus closely on the tactic, we become dependent on it. Tactics without strategy, as Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, are the noise before defeat. Just because a $5 bill is sitting in front of you does not mean it is the right tool for the job. Tools, as Neil Gaiman reminds us, can be the subtlest of traps. When we are blinded by tools, we stop seeing other possibilities in the peripheries. It is only when you zoom out and determine the broader strategy that you can walk away from a flawed tactic. What is the $5 tactic in your life? How can you ignore it and find the 2-hour window? Or even better, how do you find the most valuable 3 minutes in your arsenal? Once you move from the what to the why, once you frame the problem broadly in terms of what you are trying to do, instead of your favored solution, you will discover other possibilities that are hiding in plain sight. Wow! Actually, someone sent me this article, and I honestly don't know who the author is, but it got me thinking about those three things: the $5 tactic, the 2-hour window, or the most valuable 3 minutes. Do you know something? I had to read this article 3 times to actually understand how the best team was able to walk away with the $650. You may have to do the same. Listen to it more than once to really understand the strategy. Well, that is the money moment for this week. As you think about your tactic, about your window of opportunity, and your most valuable 3 minutes, I want to wish you a wonderful day.